Hey y'all, what's up? It's Chris J Norwood. This is Breaking It Down. I thought it'd be fun for the new album if we kind of went over some of these tunes, got into the sessions, talked gear for any of you gearheads, plugins, pedals, that sort of thing. So the first single is Fa 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 Fa, Sad Song. It's an Otis Redding cover. Otis Redding is one of my absolute favorite singers in the whole wide world. He's the best. I actually prefer Otis's versions to a lot of the original. So like Change Is Gonna Come, Higher and Higher. Obviously his original version of Respect. And it's not to say the others aren't amazing, because they are, and I love those as well. Those original versions. But there's something about Otis's voice that he just sang with like a power and a passion, and like he really gave it his all every time he sang. And so that's what I really loved. So I knew I had to do an Otis cover for this album, Knockdown, Dragout. And I chose this one. It's one of my favorites. It's a really good one. A little kind of story about it. So Fa, 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 Fa. Why is it called that? That's how he would kind of sing his horn parts when he was in the studio with the horn players. Otis doesn't get a lot of credit as a horn arranger and as someone who just can come up with really cool horn parts. So when we sing Fa, 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 that was Otis trying to convey what he heard in his mind to the horn players. And there's actually another version that I gave the guys in the band. There was a movie that came out I think in the early 90s called The Commitments. I've never seen the movie. It's almost impossible to track down. I think you can maybe watch it on YouTube. I've seen tons of clips. But it's this movie from Ireland that was made in Ireland in the early 90s, starring a young Glenn Hansard from The Frames and Swell Season and the movie Once, if you've seen that. Very young, long-haired Glenn Hansard. It's pretty funny. But it's about these kids in kind of a rough neighborhood of Ireland, and they form this throwback 60s soul band, and I related to that a lot. So they had another version of this too. Their version is much faster. I'll go ahead and let me play some of the original Otis version. His version just has so much it's so much groove and so much soul to it. So here's Otis's version. So like I said, slow, soulful, grooving. It's just great. Here's the Commitments version. You can tell it's quite a bit faster, kind of right off the bat. So yeah, like I said, quite a bit faster. When I had told the guys in the band, I said I want it somewhere in the middle, and that's kind of what we came up with. Let me play a little bit of the beginning of this of our version. So you can hear it's a little bit closer to the Commitments version, but still pretty grooving. Let's dive into these drums. That is Aaron Haas on the drums. He did awesome. He came up with this really cool groove during the verses that I want y'all to hear. Actually, yeah, during these choruses. It's super cool. Let's see if we can play some of this. That little kind of hi-hat thing, super cool. I love that. Aaron was so steady on his drumming on this album. So, and the kit he used was, I believe, a early 70s Ludwig Butcher Block kit that my co-producer Guillermo had laying around in the studio. That's what we used, and it sounded great. It was perfect for this kind of thing. Let's hear some of this percussion. Percussion by Ethan Sedelmeier. Played congas. Ethan would just kind of, we'd do 3 or 4 takes per song, and Ethan would lay down a separate percussion thing each take. Congas, some tambourine, and tambourine. Yeah, super cool. And then, yeah, so bass player was TJ Callaway. TJ brought in a bunch of basses to this session and always chose the right one. This for this one, he told me he has a Mike Lowell P bass, and he had the mute on it. Love a bass player that brings a mute. Woo, listen to that. TJ's grooving on that. That's super cool. And then for keys, man, it was really important to me that we used real B3, real electric piano, real piano. I do a lot of in the box stuff. I didn't want to do any MIDI if I could help it on this album. And so this was Chris Watson on the keys, and he slammed it. It was great. Got a cool sound. There's the B3 back again. We recorded this album at Audio Dallas in Garland, same studio where Willie Nelson recorded Redheaded Stranger. And the beautiful thing about that studio is just all the vintage gear. It was all of us in one room at the same time. So guitar, bass, drums, keys, percussion, all at the same time. Then we overdubbed vocals and horns later. But they've got all that cool gear. So the B3, that's two U87s on the top of the Leslie cab. And then I think another for the drum. I mean, how are you going to get three U87s? That's so beautiful. So much fun. And the guitar was let's hear this guitar. Just classic soulful guitar. The guitar was a 335 that we borrowed from our good buddy Waylon, and yeah, it was pretty much just guitar and amp. The amp was a Trace Elliott Velocette, which is kind of like an AC-15, and it's pretty much just guitar and amp for most of the album, probably a good 90% of the album. It was that 335 and that Trace Elliott. I did use like my Flint Strymon for the reverb, and then we had just a kind of old RCA ribbon mic on the amp. Super classic, super clean. You're not going to hear a ton of like guitar on this album. I really wanted to lean in to the horns and to the keys and let those really stand out in this album. Vocals I recorded here in my studio. This song was super tough. It took me a while to kind of nail it in. It's really kind of way up in my register. It's a lovely song, yo. Sweet music, honey. It's just a line, y'all. It tells a story, baby. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of that vocal. It turned out really great. Like I said, I worked hard on it. Oh, it tells a story, baby. You got to get the message. A stone message, honey. A lovely line, baby. I'm worried my watchman. And then those background vocals, that's obviously my lovely wife, Carrie Norwood, and the great Liz Holmes singing that. And it was also important when we did the background vocals that we did it the old school way. So that's both of them recording at the same time on one microphone. It tells a story, baby. And they nailed it, yeah. A stone message, honey. I'm worried it might watch me. Yeah, they sound great. Ooh, sing it any old time. So they would sing together, and then we double track it, and then a lot of times what they would do is they would flip parts when we would double it. It takes a lot of skill, and they did awesome. Not surprising. Let's get to these horns. The horns, so Preston Lewis did all the arrangement, played all the tenor and bari sax. Then Brett Lamel, I think that's how, I'm sorry, Brett, if I butchered your last name, played trombone. And Jordan Carr on the trumpet for this one. They killed it. Preston did so awesome on these arrangements. What I told him on this one specifically, since he already had like something to go off of, I said, again, kind of use those main lines, those main hooks, and then kind of go off and do your own thing, which he did. So it kind of, again, landed somewhere in between the Otis version and the Commitments version. And check out this beefy Barry part. You got to have that butt up. Jordan on those high notes. It's awesome. Those are thick. I love it. Let's go here to the end. That's great. The band they were so incredible, so great to work with, so many amazing musicians. This is a really fun record to make. So that was Fa 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 Fa, sad song. It's out now wherever you get good music. Go and stream it 1,000,000 times. We'd really appreciate it. We got a lot more singles coming out. We got a full album coming out February 9th. And yeah, hope y'all dig. Thank y'all so much.